Welcome to Pencil Leadership. I'm Chris Anderson, success and lifestyle entrepreneur, and I'm on a mission to help you realize your full potential so you can leave a positive mark on the world. So if you're ready, take out your pencils and let's begin. And if you want to make a difference in the lives of others, share this episode, go over to Apple Podcasts and follow us there to leave a positive rating and review. And together we can leave a bigger positive mark on the world. All right, welcome back to another recording of Pencil Leadership. I'm Chris Anderson, your host. And if you are trying to build your brand, build your business, and utilizing social media, specifically Instagram, then this episode is one you're going to want to tune into and make sure you have your pencils and paper out so you can take some notes, because you're going to learn a whole bunch about Instagram and how to utilize that platform with today's guest. And today we have Corey Walker on the show today, and she is just a social media expert, marketing expert, specifically tailored towards Instagram. So we look forward to diving into this conversation with her and just, utilizing her expertise and learning so we can improve on that platform. But I'm going to hand it over to Corey now so she can introduce herself to you all. So Corey, welcome to Pencil Leadership.
Thank you for having me. My name's Corey Walker, and I am the co-author of Instagram for Dummies and Instagram for Business for Dummies. And I'm also the owner of The Marketing Specialist, which is a digital marketing agency in the Sacramento area. So I help businesses with all of their social media needs, including Instagram, which is my specialty. But Facebook and LinkedIn, all of those with, strategy, content, ads, all of the above. So, yes.
Awesome. Well, we're super excited to have you on the show. Again, we appreciate you taking some time off to share with us, and looking forward to this conversation. I guess, what got you started, loving Instagram and really becoming an expert in that platform?
I started mostly on Facebook, and then I kind of started migrating a little bit over into Facebook/Instagram because, they're so interconnected.
Yep.
And then, so I started using Instagram a little bit more for my business, and I was noticing that I was getting a lot more engagement on my Instagram posts versus my Facebook posts. So I started kind of diving into that a little bit further. And then my friend and co-author Eric Buteau he's written a lot of dummies books. And so they approached him about writing a dummies book about Instagram. And he knew that I was, using it a lot for my business. And so he asked me to be a co-author with him. And so then, of course, you really have to dive in if you're writing a book about it. So then, I just got in deeper and deeper as I was writing things for the book. You have to research, we do all our own screenshots. We gather, everything we do completely on our own. And then it's, reviewed by the publisher. But yeah, writing the book kind of, it forces you to get really into it. And, but I've loved it ever since. And we've done 2 editions of the Instagram for Business for Dummies and 1 of the Instagram for Dummies. And we have another edition of Instagram for Dummies that's probably going to come out later in the year that we are just in talks about. Awesome. So that always keeps me on my toes. And I've been really, really using it a lot more lately with Reels. I'm loving Reels and have gone all in on those. So, awesome. So I just
that's cool
it immensely.
No, and it's a neat platform, and just seeing the changes, and now connected so much with Facebook or Meta, and I'm sure there's gonna be more that's gonna come from it. What do you see? Okay, I'm trying to get this question because there's so much we could dive into, but because we don't need to dive into how it used to be because it doesn't matter anymore. But what do you see right now? You mentioned Reels. Is that still the go-to thing if you're trying to increase your reach on Instagram, or are there new things that you might know of that I might not yet because of levels on Instagram or something?
Yeah, no, Reels is definitely
Okay.
still, if you want reach, if you want to reach beyond just your
Hmm.
followers, then Reels is still going to be your best bet.
Okay.
Now, I have noticed, and a lot of other people have noticed that Reels reach has been down a little bit
Yeah.
in the last, I don't know, 6 weeks or so. And I'm not sure exactly what the reason is. It could be because they're starting to divide the feeds up. So,
Okay.
instead of just having the one home feed, they're starting to roll out the 3 feeds. So there's a
Oh,
home. Yeah, yeah.
okay. We'll dive into that for sure. But we'll
Yeah.
keep going. Okay.
So, so we can talk about that later, but
Yeah.
that kind of divvies up some of the viewing that way.
Okay.
I'm not sure what else is happening, but yeah,
Yeah.
reels that I used to get, easily 2 or 3 thousand views now are just getting a couple hundred.
Okay.
So I'm not sure exactly why that's happening, but
Interesting.
I still get way more reach even now on a
Hmm.
reel than I would on a regular post
Post. Okay.
or even just a regular Instagram video. So it's
Gotcha.
definitely still worth doing.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say, because I used to do IGTV stuff on
Mm-hmm.
there and then Reels came out. So I've been trying to utilize those more and I've really kind of forgotten about IGTV.
Well, it's gone. That's why.
Is it completely gone? Okay. See, that's how much I didn't pay attention to it because I didn't even realize it was completely gone, I guess.
Yeah, so they kind of just morphed it into
Okay.
now you can do an Instagram video and it's just
Mm,
all in the feed. And so there's not a separate
separate. Okay.
IGTV because I think it wasn't, people weren't going there. They
Yeah.
thought it was going to be, like Instagram's answer to YouTube kind of thing. And it
Hmm.
just, people didn't embrace it. So
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that makes sense. So,
yeah.
so with now, I do see a lot of people, at least in the ones I follow, going live on Instagram. I know it's a different
Mhm.
video form. Is that a big piece to utilize for growth? Because I don't right now, to be honest, and I don't know if it's something I should be focusing on.
Well, okay, here's the deal.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
Okay.
Now, this is one area that I have definitely slacked off on, and
Okay.
I need to embrace it more as well. But it is a good tool to get out there. It does, notify up in the top because it's part of
Hmm.
the
The story
stories
area.
world.
Yeah.
So it will show at the top of your home feed in those little bubbles that you're going live.
Hmm.
And it's also a really great way if you like I did do a live with someone else. So then you're reaching, their whole
Both.
audience as well.
Okay.
So it is, and it's something I need to work into my plans a little bit more,
Right.
but it is
Okay.
something for good reach as well.
So if you're going to spend time, and this is, of course, I want your opinion, would you, if you're going to do a live and utilize time to do a live, would it be more beneficial than to do it as a collaboration effort between, so it opens up your audience and theirs,
Yeah.
or okay,
Yeah, definitely.
okay,
Anytime you can, collaborate with somebody, it's going to extend
hmm,
your reach. And that also applies to reels. You can do a collab reel now.
hmm, I was going to ask about
Um,
that. Yeah.
yeah, and it's the same thing, and it's going to post on both of your accounts, and it'll, show
Oh,
both of your
okay.
names at the top. And so you write one caption, but it goes out to both accounts. So,
So it ends up on their actual feed, so people can see it on their page.
yes, yeah.
So, oh wow. Okay, so that kind of makes some sense why you might not get people to accept that collaboration if they have a certain look to their profile. Would that deter them from accepting it because it doesn't match their
I mean, they could, yeah. Like, I mean,
Okay.
if you're really going to do a good collab, you know, a reel, you can do the cover art, but most of the
Hmm.
time in the feed, people aren't going to see that cover art.
Right.
And I think, unlike a couple years ago when people were just super into like having the perfect aesthetic
Yeah.
on their feed,
Right.
that's calmed down a bit. Like I still
Okay.
try and have the same brand look
Hmm.
because when I'm, putting posts out, I want people to feel like, oh, that's Corey, like they
Yeah.
recognize my colors and things like that.
Okay.
But I'm not as concerned with, everything being in a checkerboard or,
Right.
this
Yeah.
perfect thing. So
Okay.
I wouldn't let that deter you from doing a collab.
Okay.
Now, yeah, one thing that is interesting with the collab, I did one with someone in Australia, which was super fun.
Yeah.
And we just like shot little snippets and then she put it all together.
Cool.
But she posted it and then I have to accept the collab for it to post on mine. And since the time difference is, I don't know, 12 hours or
something crazy.
Some crazy amount.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see it until I think, 8 hours or something after she posted it. And so I didn't get in on that initial like posting. So I felt like it was slower to catch on to and I don't know, but
I gotcha. Okay. That makes sense though.
Yeah. I think if you're going to do it, if you can try and have them, post it, ask you, and you accept, I think it works better in the algorithm. Now that's just my guess. I'm not positive of
now. Do you know why they started having that ability to collaborate on reels or posts even, or things like that? Like,
I think Instagram is on a power grab to get as many users and views as possible. So anything that they can do to get, more people engaged, then they're going to do it. So gotcha. I think that's kind of the main thing that they're after.
Yeah. Cause I thought that was interesting. And I mean, I think it could be a beneficial tool. So, so what else? I mean, we got reels now, they're still going on. Do you have any tips for reels for people listening that they might be able to like, I don't want to dance, or I'm not very good at, like, I guess what some direction you have for listeners on the reels aspect?
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, you don't have to dance. I don't dance, and people, trust me, you're glad that I don't. I don't dance, and I try to stay away from the pointing thing. I don't like pointing at words, but if you do, have at it.
Yeah.
But I would say use trending audio. That helps. So the way that you can see if it's trending when you're looking at someone else's reel, at the bottom there'll be like a little arrow that's pointing up, and that means it's like on the rise.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, use trending audio. That's going to help you. I have found, believe it or not, that if you do reels that are under 10 seconds, it actually, I get a lot more engagement on the really short ones than the long ones. Okay. And I don't know if it's the algorithm likes that better, or if it's just because people have like zero attention span and they just, it's like, oh, okay, I can watch this in 10 seconds and move on to the next thing. But the longer ones have not been doing as well.
Okay.
Let's see what else. I always try to put a title hook on top. So maybe like a question, and I actually have that. I don't do the covers for my reels, but I always format it so that it's grabbing that piece of video that has that that word on it. So then in my feed, you can see kind of like the question or what it's going to be about.
Gotcha.
Let's see what else. If you're going to do text when you are in the creation mode, when you're moving the text around, you can actually see a blue bar that pops up.
Okay.
And that just means that it's going to stay within the regular feed view.
Okay.
So like if somebody's watching a reel on the regular feed, it's shorter than if they're watching it in the reels section.
Right. Okay. Yep.
So if you put your text all the way at the top, if they're in the reels section, they'll be able to read it. If they're just watching it on their feed, it's going to get cut off.
Okay.
So, I have a lot of little tips like that.
That's
actually
good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I do have a reels ebook on my site if anyone's interested.
That's awesome.
And it goes through everything from like screenshots, because I'm used to, Dummy's books. I'm used to screenshots and explaining things very, in very much detail.
Yeah.
So it goes through all the steps of that, and it has, a lot of these tips that I just shared and some more, to get your reels going tip-top shape. Yeah.
So with that, and another question on reels, and we can kind of move on, but is it, because I've heard both, if I was to make a video on TikTok and download that video, or create a video on my phone and edit it and then upload it to Instagram versus recording it straight on Instagram, is there a difference by doing it straight on Instagram platform, recording and doing everything there, versus taking a video off of the platform and bringing it on as far as reach?
Well, okay. So here's the thing. If you download it off TikTok and it has the watermark,
yep,
they don't like that. So they have actually said, we might not play your video as much if that TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, they have said that. So there are some ways that you can take that watermark off. And I'm blanking on the app that does that, but there are a few apps that you can use that actually remove the watermark. But what I will do sometimes is I'll just like I have a restaurant client, and I will film a bunch of little snippets at the restaurant and then put it together in InShot and then post it to both Reels and TikTok. If you do that, as long as there's no like watermarks and the quality is good, I haven't noticed any difference. It's just they don't like having the TikTok logo, or if in the download the video quality is not as good, like they like a really nice, crisp, clear quality, then they might not play it as much. But if you're just creating it on your own as its own standalone thing, and editing it somewhere else and uploading it, it shouldn't make any difference.
Gotcha. Okay. I was curious about that. So yeah, it's definitely something. It's been the short form video stuff, I guess, is just, like you said, people's attention span is like nothing hardly. So is why I guess it's important also to have that hook and really grab their attention in. So are there some good kind of hooks that people can use, like generically? Like, I know there's how to, are there other type hooks?
If you do like top 5, tips or top 5 reasons, anytime you have like a quick, top 5, that usually does really well. If you have a question like that, you say you're a real estate agent and you get a lot of the same question all the time, you can post that. I mean, mostly like the ones that I do are questions or issues that I've had with Instagram that I come up, upon, and then I'll post that as a reel, because it's like, okay, well, if I have the question, then I'm sure like 20 other people are probably thinking the same thing.
For sure.
So anything in your business that is a frequently asked question, or that you've noticed personally that's like an issue for whatever your business is, are really good hooks.
Okay. And then with that, so you say you post reel, whatever it is. And again, I've heard both camps on this, so I'm eager to hear your opinion. Do you stay on and interact before and after the engagement type stuff, or is it okay to hop up? People are like, no, you got to hop off right away, and it'll boost your engagement or something. And I was like, what? I don't
know about that.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. No, I always encourage engaging. In fact, when I do a reel, a lot of times I will go and engage on other accounts, just so it's like they see my name, I'm top of mind, and they might be like, oh, well, what's she up to these days?
Yeah.
Especially with a comment versus a like. I know personally, if someone comments on my account and I haven't, met them or seen them before, I'm much more apt to like go check out their account, versus if they like it, I'm kind of like, whatever. Yeah. But when they like it, or when they comment, and the comment especially is something, intriguing, or they're asking me a question where I know like they really are taking in that information, then I'll hop over and see what their account's about. So I would definitely stay on and engage in some other accounts. And then if people are asking you questions on your reel, then, definitely answer them back.
Okay, cool. And that's what I was leaning towards. I was wanting to make sure and ask. So what about people who, so I post on, and sometimes get, the bots or the spam ones going promoted on at.
Yeah.
Is it beneficial to actually kind of play along and comment on that to boost the algorithm, or does that not really work by?
You love listening to podcasts, but have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? Maybe you want to build a brand, grow your business, or are looking for an excuse to talk about your favorite hobby. Whatever your reason for making a podcast, Buzzsprout is the place to start. Since 2009, Buzzsprout has helped over 300,000 people launch their own podcasts. Buzzsprout walks you step by step through the whole process and will give you powerful tools to start, grow, and monetize your podcast. Ready to get started? Click the link in the show notes to get our free step-by-step guide to starting your podcast today.
Yeah, I mean, you can just say like, "Oh, thanks," and add something because
That's kind of what I do.
It's more comments on there.
Okay.
So
I wondered if it would,
just
if you
take
could
it
kind
as
of
a bonus.
exactly. Okay. Because I have them and I'm like, yeah, thanks. Why should I do that? Question mark. Hoping they would just keep it going to keep the feed. So
they don't.
Yeah, no, they're just they're just hit and gone. So okay, so Reels is a big one. Engaging, collaboration is all huge. Did you or have you heard of, like, in the grapevine or whatnot through your connections, anything that is coming that they're maybe talking about implementing, or maybe that they're testing in a certain group that we should be eager to look for?
Well, the different home feeds is definitely one that they are beyond testing. I mean, two of my client accounts already have it.
Really?
Of
Okay.
course, I don't have it. I always get things last, I feel like. But so the different feeds, there's going to be 3 feeds. The home feed is the one that we have now that everyone has. And then there's going to be a following feed, and that feed will be just the people that you follow, and it will be chronological. So everyone's saying like, "Oh, you want chronological that?" That following feed will be chronological, and I don't know if they're going to try and still stick some ads in there. But one thing I've been noticing they're doing on the home feed now is like suggesting other accounts. And they're not going to do that on the following because it's going to be, the people just you follow. And then the other one is called favorites. And so those people so you might say you're following, 5,000 people. Well, maybe you want one area that's like just your friends and family. So you just want to be able to hop over there and see what's going on with those people in your life that are really special. So you can do that and have just your favorites and still have following, and still you'll still be able to, you can like toggle between all of them. So as marketers though, it's going to get more tricky because there's going to be a lot of just regular users that are like, well, I don't really want all this other junk that they're trying to feed me. Like, I just want my followers, or I just want the people I'm following. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. And I'm wondering if that rollout, since a lot of people already do have it, is what's making the reach on the Reels go down.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Because Reels were really showing to a huge group of people that weren't your followers. So, and you'd have to be in the home feed to see them. So we'll
interesting.
See.
Yeah. Interesting. So if that's the case, we're going to want to have more people follow us, obviously. So there's a higher chance that they're going to see our things, our posts. So do you have a strategy on or good tips on how to grow your following besides posting and engaging? Of course, is there some tips that we could do to grow that?
Well, you can always follow more people to get follow backs. That's kind of the age old way to do it. Of course, posting really good content. You can ask people, just like do a post saying like, hey, the feed's changing. If you still want to see my posts, go over here, make sure you're following me, or make sure that I'm on your favorites list. So a lot of people, I think a lot of marketers are going to start asking people to be on their favorites list versus just following, because that's an even more like, exclusive list. So like I will probably use my favorites as more of the top people in my industry that I really want to like make sure I'm seeing their knowledge and new stuff coming out. So those are a few ways. Of course, just posting more regularly to your stories, doing lives, doing reels that are like really entertaining or
Okay.
really offer a lot of value. I try to mix both. Like
Yeah.
I try to provide value, but then I also do some that are, somewhat silly, like lip syncing to
Mm-hmm.
something that's more silly, but it always goes back to marketing or reels. So I don't ever
Yeah.
do any that are like purely just, like what's your celebrity look-alike, or, I
Right.
don't do those for this account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. No, I think it is good. It's gonna definitely. I think it'll be good for people trying to build a brand. It's gonna be, like you said, more challenging, but I think it'll make people have to stretch and actually engage
Mhm.
more to be able to get into those favorites lists or provide better value so people
Yeah.
will want to add them. So I think that'll be a good thing. Um, but I hear social media, Instagram, especially Facebook, is becoming more pay to play. Do
Mhm.
you see that as a truth that, if you're putting money into advertising, the easier it is to grow instead of the organic way that it used to be?
Well, unfortunately,
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah.
I still do most of my stuff organically. I did do an ad recently, and that of course got more likes, but
Yeah.
that's what it's designed to do.
Right.
But yeah, as we're going through some weird algorithm changes,
Hmm.
if you really like have a product that you want to get out there, it might help to do a little bit of spend.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like I'm hoping it doesn't go the way that Facebook has gone, because Facebook, I honestly barely use anymore for my business, because unless I'm paying for it,
Hmm.
virtually no one will see it.
Yep.
And it's super disappointing, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm hoping it doesn't go that way, because usually what happens there is people go on to the next thing, and people
Hmm.
are migrating over to TikTok and
Yeah.
you know,
I got you. And
so
that's and hopefully it'll improve, but I'd hate to see Instagram do that same as Facebook. But we adapt and change, right? So with what comes, now kind of to wrap things up, as far as Instagram, are there any red flags? Are there any no-nos that people should really be aware of that they might be doing that they don't realize is hurting their growth on Instagram?
well, some people are still just posting maybe like once or twice a week, and they're posting just, a graphic
Hmm.
or a photo. And really, I mean, the head of Instagram has pretty much said we're not just a photo sharing app
Yeah.
anymore. So if you are thinking, oh, I'll just post like two or three, photos a week, you're not, I mean, unless they're just amazing, you're not going to get the reach
Yeah.
that you want to grow. So
Okay.
really, I think incorporating stories more, incorporating reels, of course. And then I've had some success with the carousels.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do more of, if you're not comfortable yet on video, do some more carousels where you're, teaching something along the way, or maybe, showing like three of your products in a row, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, the nice thing that I really like about carousels that a lot of people don't know is
Hmm.
that once you post a carousel, once someone's seen the first, page of it, if they don't, keep scrolling through, the next time it comes up in their feed, it's going to show them the next one in their thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like if you post a carousel with three posts in it, it's like getting, like a 3-for-1 kind of thing,
Yeah.
because it's changing up as it goes out.
Okay. Now, do you see with carousels? That's a good topic I want to move to as well. Just real quick, is I know you can have, I think, 10 slides on carousels. Do you see a number being better? Like, should we use all 10? Or is that too much for people? Should it be 3 like you just mentioned? Or
Yeah, I personally think 10's a lot to
Mhm.
expect people to wade through. Like
Yeah.
people, like I said, they lose interest quickly.
Okay.
So I would say under 5
Okay.
is probably a sweet spot.
Mhm.
Over that, yeah. I mean, personally, I know if I see they've got 10, I'm like, oh my gosh, what are they talking about? Like,
Yeah.
why?
Okay.
So yeah,
Guilty. No,
yeah.
I've
So
had a couple, so.
I would do, yeah, 5 and under, I think
Okay.
is about people's bandwidth.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. And
Mhm.
I think those are good. I like the carousel, especially with my business Elevate, the podcast production company. You know, we kind of don't have I mean, I guess I'm here and we have some people helping, but there's no real face to it. So I like the
Mhm.
carousels because we can teach. And I've been
Right.
trying to figure out, like, I've shown up on Reels on that account, again, educating or, whatever it is. Are there any good tips for doing Reels without showing your face? Do you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, you can definitely do product
Hmm.
photography. Some
Okay.
people will do like a timed thing
Hmm.
where you can put several photos all together. You can show yourself if you're like an Etsy seller and you make things. A lot of people are really interested in the process. Like you could have your light overhead and you're just showing your
Oh, okay.
hands
Yeah.
creating something. Same with cooking. If are a chef and you don't want to be on camera, just
Hmm.
do an overhead showing you mixing and things like that.
Okay.
I did one with my book where I did like a stop motion photography.
Oh, uh-huh.
So that's a really easy and kind of fun one you can do. So I had the book just scooting across the desk towards me, and you literally just film it for like a second or two, and you just film video clips just 2 seconds long, and then they just all go in and you just move the book or the product just very slightly,
Uh-huh.
and it looks like it's moving towards you on its own. So it's kind of
Neat. Yeah.
it's kind
But
of
you got to
fun.
be creative with it, I guess. Because
Yeah.
I've been trying to think for Elevate, like if I'm creating I don't necessarily want my face in there, what could I do? So yeah, we get some ideas with that. So
Maybe something well, for Elevate would be different. I was gonna say for a pencil, maybe you have the pencil
oh,
like
right.
moving,
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point too for that. So
yeah.
well, no, that's good. I mean, yeah, it's just an ever growing platform and changing. And now with being connected to Meta and things like that, I'm sure we'll see even more innovation come forward. I mean, didn't at one point they tried to do some sort of audio room or audio something with Instagram, or was that, I can't remember when Clubhouse was big and things like that. I can't remember if they tried
Yeah, I don't think they did. I know like
okay.
Twitter has one now. I
Okay.
think
Yeah.
like everybody's kind of done everything. So,
Right.
yeah, I don't think Instagram has done an audio only, but there's so many. Yeah, I feel like every platform is trying to be everything, and
Right.
it doesn't always work.
That's true. Yeah. That's a good point. So kind of like TikTok has stayed with the short form video, for the most
Yeah,
part. And
although I just heard they're going to expand to 10 minutes.
hmm,
So, I was kind of surprised because
yeah.
right now it's up to 3,
Uh-huh.
and so now it's going up to 10. So I'm
Interesting.
sure, yeah, YouTube is probably like, "Oh, crap, here we go."
Yeah, because then YouTube did shorts. YouTube
See,
had the YouTube
everybody's trying to do
shorts.
everything,
And
yeah.
it's like Instagram had IGTV with the longer form, and they got rid of that, and now like it's be interesting. Yeah, it'll be. It's interesting dynamic with everything going on for sure. So,
Yeah.
but no, this has been great. I appreciate you being on here and just giving some good direction for people to utilize the platform better.
Of course.
One thing, I guess, before I ask my final question, it just popped in my head. A lot of podcasters I see do an audiogram. So it's like a static image with just like the audio bars moving.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, it's still like in a regular post. Should they reformat how they post that, or does that show up well at all for people? Like, cause it's not necessarily a moving image. It's just audio with a static backdrop, basically.
Yeah. I mean, I think they work pretty well
Okay.
as long as the voiceover thing actually
Yeah.
works. But no,
Right.
I think they're
Okay.
pretty cool. So
Okay.
I would use those for you.
Uh-huh.
Definitely doing like a little snippet
Yeah. Okay.
and
I didn't
yeah.
know if because it wasn't a reel because it wasn't video, if it
Hmm.
caught enough attention. Um, so okay. It just
Yeah.
how you hook them in with the caption then probably still the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I
Awesome.
think they're good.
I
Mhm.
wanted to ask that before it popped back in my head. So again, no, I appreciate you being on. The last kind of question to wrap things up with has to do with pencil leadership. And the fifth trait of pencil leadership is that everyone's created uniquely with a purpose to leave a positive mark on the world. And so when everything is said and done for you here, Corey, what do you hope your positive mark is?
Well, I think I would hope that I would be seen as an approachable teacher.
Hmm.
I really enjoy teaching people, about how to improve their business. And yeah, I feel like I'm the sort of person that someone could just talk to easily, and I hope
Mm-hmm.
that's what I express. So
Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy teaching people and helping them, any way I can to improve their business, and I hope that they feel that from me.
Awesome. And I definitely would say you're approachable and easy to talk to. So you're doing that well. So I appreciate you again sharing. Where can people connect with you, find out more about what you're doing, and seek help if they need it?
Sure. Well, the easiest spot where everything is on my website, themarketingspecialist.com. And then if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm always doing tips and reels and all sorts of stuff. And anytime there's a new update, I'm sharing that. And so that is at Corey C. Walker. So it's CoreyCwalker. Yeah, and I have, both books, Instagram for Dummies and
Yeah.
Instagram for Business for Dummies, are on Amazon. If you go to my website, there's my Reels ebook is available, and I'm doing a 10-day Reels challenge that you can find
Awesome.
on my Instagram page, and that's completely free, and it gives you free prompts and how to do it and everything, and it's
Awesome.
totally free. So
Wow.
several
That's great.
resources out there.
Yeah. Well, make sure you're taking advantage of that. And everybody check out her website and get on that challenge and just learn from Corey, especially if you're, focusing on Instagram as your platform to grow your brand and business. She's putting out a lot of great tips, and you're going to be able to take a lot of value away from her page and what she's doing. So again, Corey, thank you so much for being on Pencil Leadership today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. And if you're watching this, make sure you share it. Make sure you follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts, because as you do that, it helps us get these messages out to more people so we can leave a bigger positive mark together. And until next time, let's go out and be pencil leaders. And thanks so much for tuning into this episode today. If you found value at all from this episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It just helps us get this show, these messages out in front of more people. And don't forget to share this with someone who you think could benefit from listening to as well. Now let's go out and be pencil leaders.